Hi everyone.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, okay, good to be here. I'm a master student at Illinois State University, and I'm going to be talking about embrace separation, exploring method of breath attunement in speculative infant swing. It's a project that I did alongside with my two professors, Kristin and Annie. First of all, let me introduce the area of the research. So the research is um, exploring speculative infant swings that help parents to get close to their children. So what we actually explored in this paper is ways to maintain physical closeness with infants, and also parents' observation and communications with their infants, and also to explore the concept of safety and entertainment for infants. So the background for this paper is that two-thirds of parents put their babies to sleep when they are very close to them, or when the babies is all around them, seeing them. And how can this, the major research is how can this be maintained over time, that and also still be able to do different things. This is a typical example of what we're trying to explore. This is a mother trying to put a baby to sleep, but as at the point of the, the separation, the baby actually wakes up. And how do we maintain this kind of closeness, even though we know that it's definitely not possible, but we are trying to bring like a speculative design to make that possible. Related works that have explored this kind of techniques is the smart crib that was done at MIT, which is called the snooze. And most of the materials were created out of something from the womb to create that same connection between the child and the mother. The womb, the smart crib has a way of silencing every environment once you drop the baby into the cot. So when the environment is noisy and you put the baby in the cot, the baby can always sleep silently. Also, the tsunami crib also made something like that. But the idea of this is that the crib only triggers the parent's movement when the baby is crying. But if the baby is not crying, which means the parent the crib doesn't have anything to do, and it's limited in kind of things that it will do. So in order to take forward this kind of approach that people have done, we created an idea of what could be done differently. We all know that during the pandemic, that was around 2020, a lot of parents, a lot of people started working from home, and this brought about more connection between parents and their infants. And most of them, because they were working from home, it was always a challenge for them to juggle between their work and their infants, because most of their infants is always wanting to stay all around them to see how well that they can talk with their infants, like cuddle them for them to sleep, and also to do their daily activities, which was actually a challenge. Then we proposed this design to create this physical connection between the parents and the infant while maintaining distance. The research was focused on smart sensory synchronization. And when we talk about sensory synchronization, it's more of you trying to walk around movement to create it into a rhythmic pattern. When you talk about sensory, you are talking the kind of movement you're talking about tapping, you're talking about dancing, you're talking about any movement that you can see and notice, and also tipping it down that you can use it into something, into a pattern that you can use in generating other movements in all other particles or in all other um, objects that you want to transfer the movement onto. Then the design choices that we thought of creating for this project was a crib that can be used. We thought of a weighted blanket, and we thought of cameras and speakers. We talked about the the band that the parents can use. When we talk about the crib, because of the sound and the diffused sound and the diffused light, it's a way the diffused light helps infants in sleeping, and also the weighted blanket. also helps in transferring the it from the parents to the infant. So in explaining this, the bread mapping technique, because infants at most time, they prefer to be very close to their infant, to their, parents prefer to be very close to their infant, and on most occasions, they put their babies close to their chest, and the movement of the parents on their infant with the chest movement creates that kind of a movement that infants like and helps them to sleep at most times. So once they are away from their mother, that's what creates them to wake up by, because they can't feel the movement any longer. And for us to create this kind of pattern, we had to create a band that uses a sensor that we can use to transfer some of this movement from the parents to a mobile application that can use to motor the swing in that same pattern of the chest of the parent. Because of all other ones that have been designed, they were using the art movement, and the art movement, it has a uniform speed and duration. So, but the chest movement, due to different activities, the patterns of movement differs. And this breadth reading is being explained by Benative fundamentals, which explain that for even movement, the chest beat, it's in a particular pattern, and it flows with that same pattern over time. But the impact movement has a stop at the end, which is something like you're moving, like for example, you're moving, vroom, you stop, you vroom, you stop. So it's always creating that synchronized uneven pattern where you have a little stop to create that kind of movement that there's actually something going on, while the impulsive pattern have a stop at the end. So these are the kind of patterns that we tend to use to create the movement instead of it being even as the heartbeat. For the UI design, we thought of for the mobile application, because the crib is going to be controlled by an application. So for the UI application, we thought of different things that will be available for the parents, especially the things that they do on occasional basis for them to create the connection between them and their infants. Sometimes we have the option of recording, singing, white noise, music, and sound. For in addition to the motion movement, because the pattern has already been recorded due to the band that has been placed on the chest, you can either speed up the crib or you slow it down. They are just two movements. So is it because infants love to play in their crib, just to create that kind of movements when you are carrying them? Sometimes you carry them, you swing them at a faster rate just to make them jiggle and laugh, and sometimes on a lower pace depending on what happened at that particular time. Then we also thought of the idea of playing with light, because light, according to Thomas and all, they talked about how light plays an important role in the Cardassian rhythm movement for infants, because light affects their sleep. And if you have different lights that have different temperatures and even different patterns at a particular time, they have different ways that they could also play and being entertained on their own, while still creating that same environment that the mother can be close to or the parents can be close to the infant. And also we explored the idea of having record singing, because over time, babies from their 32 to 34 weeks before delivery, they can recognize sounds. So in that same approach, people were usually singing or talking, or they've had some particular voice over time. And this particular voice, when they hear it when they are out, brings a smile to their face. And aside that, because of there are different lullabies that are online, but Some of them are not in the kind of voices or the tones that the infants are very used to, or in the dialect that the parents or the infants could always understand. So to create this kind of connection, we thought that what if the parents could actually sing a song to the infant and record the song. So because of the crib has a speaker attached to it, you can always play it back often time to time because it's your own song, it's your own voice. The infant could always relate with that kind of sound. And I will just share the prototype interface of what it looks like. I need to stop sharing and show the interface. This is how the proposed interface looks like. When they sign up, you could actually have the motion intensity. How do you want it? Is it high? Is it high, or you want it low? And because of the idea of the design is because the parents, they don't have a lot of they don't have the luxury of time to start signing up or doing all those things. So we cut out that part and we made the buttons big enough that when the thumb just touches it, it's easier for them to have access to wherever they are going to. And we also have the option of the light mode where you can select the range of lights and also have them with different options of patterns, either and the temperature, depending on what the mood they want to set for their infant. Also, we have this for the audio connection where you could actually record the song and also play it back for the infant. Then we also did a usability testing that to test if the application was actually useful and people understood most of the icons and the naming convention that we put into the design. So for this, we had to test with two users. We used the Useberry, that was a plugin that is connected to Adobe XD. We gave them a challenge to navigate through the application, giving each person different scenarios. So we told them that your child is crying and you were in a meeting. You can't stand up. How do you navigate to see and what are the possibilities of things that you could do to solve that issue? And some of them, because they already understand what the video icon looks like, so they clicked on the video icon to understand that this is what to check what the child is doing at that particular time and how to put some audios or to create some lightning environment for the infants to relate with. And from the chart, we could see that people never they of the two contestants, they understood the process that was involved. They didn't give up, and they all completed the tasks because the mobile application that was designed for this project was better understood by all these testers that we put into it. And also it is user friendly and have easy accessibility. So for conclusion, we are trying to see how well we could understand and see what the parents can do to control their environment because they are working from home and also create that closeness with their infant because of the features that are readily available on mobile phones and also things that can be expected to create. And it also helps in the potential embodied connection between infant and parents. For future works, we're looking forward to create a motor pattern for infants to create and to also create a physical prototype for us to test run and see how best we could achieve the breadth interface for the application the work is actually in progress, and also to create real life scenarios where we could actually put infants to test and create this software. Thank you.
Right. Olaoluwa, thank you very much for the presentation.